When Lin returned to the contamination control area, Lily confronted him asking about the delicious food he promised. Lim showed her a bag saying he was late because he was buying the delicious food. Lily grabbed the bag saying it doesn't smell delicious. The bag felt mushy, so she asked Lim if he was trying to trick her with snail meat again. Lim told her not to worry. He called Surdiok and told him to prepare the meat. Surdiok cooked 2 pork belly pieces to perfection with grilled garlic and some seasoned green onions. Then he wrapped it up in sesame leaf and a piece of lettuce. Lily had a taste and she couldn't believe how good it tasted. Lim told her to calm down because she was spitting all over the food. 4 days passed by quickly and it was time for Lim and Lily to return to work. In those 4 days, Lim bought the land near his tent with the guild contract money. And Surdiok, who he brought back to the tent because he thought he would be useful, is busy building a log house. Surdiok says he has worked every kind of job that's out there, and thanks to Lim he is finding a new path in life, so he will straighten up and live as a hard-working person from now on. Lim says okay and told Surdiok to do his best working for free in the next 3 years. Also, he made Surdiok an eunuch. Basically, Surdiok's little buddy doesn't work anymore. Lim hid a blood vessel in his special parts to make sure he won't run away. As long as Surdiok is blind when it comes to martial arts, he won't be able to undo it, so it's a guarantee he won't run away. Lim plans to use Surdiok as an extra hand for the next 3 years, then send him off with a bit of money. In the present, inside the White House Guild office, Beak approached Lim and says she has been appointed as the temporary assistant of Team 7. She said Team 7 is a new team, so they need an experienced person. Lim asked her if she was sure this arrangement would be temporary. Beak said of course, and she told Lim that she is too busy to be the permanent assistant of Team 7. Beak handed him a big file of documents, saying Team 7's official mission will start tomorrow, but today all Lim needs to do is memorize the stuff in the document. Lim grabbed the documents, questioning if he should have actually rested instead of taking on the orcs. Lim quickly looked over the first page of the documents, and he asked Beak why his team was assigned a gate destruction mission when his contract has a clause that says he could refuse long-term missions. Beak says the mission was sent from the government a few days ago. She explained that 4 guilds will be participating and the estimated time to clear the dungeon is 2 days. The White House Guilds needs a team to represent them, and Team 7 is the only available team at the moment. Lim still didn't want to take on the mission because he knows the government's estimations are unreliable. Monster gates can be classified into 2 types. The first is Class A type dungeons, where the gate disappears on its own after spilling out monsters. Class A types dungeons can be dealt with just by killing the monsters. The second is Class B type dungeons, where the gate doesn't disappear even after spilling out monsters. The gate stays even when no monsters are coming out of the gate. In this case, someone needs to head inside the gate and kill all the monsters, and destroy the core to return. And usually missions to take care of B-type gates are called gate destruction missions. Lim continued to look through the gate destruction mission documents and he came across a photo of a place that seemed familiar. He questioned if the photo was of the place where one of the most catastrophic gates appeared. In his previous life it was called the Maze of the Fallen Spirit. When he was an instructor back then, he always mentioned this place because of its infamous reputation. And if he would have taken part in the mission back then, there is no doubt he would have died. Beak recalled Lim saying he had some problems with another guild some time ago. She said she could pass the mission on to that guild if there was a problem. However, Lim said Team 7 would handle the mission. A while later, inside a car, Beak told Lim to stay calm no matter what. Lim asked Beak if she thought he was the type to throw a tantrum or something, and Beak said yes. Lim looked out the car window. In order for him to clear this gate, he needs a strong tanker, and since Wang Guho's recruiting is taking longer than expected because of the contract cancellation fees, he has to go get him himself. They arrived at the Blackhound Guild building. The driver got out of the car and lowered his head. He told Lim to take care. Lim told the driver not to do something like this again. He said he was grateful to him for just driving him around. As they walked towards the Blackhound Guild building, Beak told Lim that what he said just now was cool. Lim thanked her and said they need to focus on the job. Upright and kind people make Lim uncomfortable and awkward. He would be more comfortable with aggressive and rude bastards, for example the guys from the Blackhound Guild. At the door to the Blackhound Guild building, Lim and the others were greeted by Kim Hyun-T, Wang Guho, and Jang. They brought Lim and the others to a meeting room. Hyun-T says he knows Beak wants to recruit Wang to the White House Guild, but says Wang is a precious talent to the Blackhound Guild. Lim took a sip of his coffee. He knows that Hyun-T is the guildmaster's little cousin and the one who takes care of the Blackhound Guild's dirty work. He was expecting him to make an outrageous demand for annulling the contract. Beak told Hyun-T that the White House Guild is aware of the Blackhound Guild's stand on this matter, but paying the 5 billion for annulment compensation is too much. Hyun-T interrupted her and said it's no longer 5 billion. He informed her that Wang renewed his contract with the Black Hound Guild this morning, and according to the renewed contract the cancellation fee will be $10 billion. Lim knows Hyunot is provoking them on purpose. He wants them to cause a scene because he is probably recording them in secret. Lim got up from the table and he told Beak that they should head back. Beak is the guild master's daughter and someone who could be easily manipulated. As Lim and the others made their way towards the door, Hyunot pulled Wang closer, saying Lim must not need Wang that much. He asked them to contact him if they changed their minds. He also added that Lily seemed to like the cake they provided and said Lim might want to take her to the hospital on the way back, because the cake's been expired for a while now. Lim turned around and slapped Hyunot unconscious. Jang stood up from his chair and asked Lim if he was crazy. He got ready to attack, but Lim quickly dealt with him as well. The other Black Hound Guild hunters rushed to the scene questioning what was happening. After seeing Jang and Hyunot on the ground, they took out their weapons and prepared to attack. For their own good, Lim advised them not to attack him. He asked them if they were stronger than a Black Hound team leader. He told them not to try something useless and call their guild master. If they wanted him to fall for their little provocation, he would. Beak approached Lim saying he shouldn't have done that even if they deserved it. Lim said he knows and he asked Beak why she looked happy he did it though. Lily asked Lim why he beat up Jang and Hyunot. Lim told her not to worry about it. He told Lily not to eat things from strangers and said from now on he will have Suradiok pack her a lunch box. Hyunot might have lied about the cake, but that doesn't matter now. He approached Wang and told him that they needed to talk later. Suddenly the room was filled with murderous intent. Lim knew that the Black Hound Guild master was approaching. Demon King Qin Tijun, one of the first to be awakened, entered the meeting room, asking if Lim called for him. He demanded an explanation from Lim of what happened in the meeting room. Lim smiled. He knows Tijun was acting like he didn't know anything after watching everything through the cameras. Lim says he would tell Tijun everything, and in return he wanted him to let the others go. Tijun was impressed with Lim's loyalty. He says if he took full responsibility then he would let the others go. Lim turned to Lily and he asked her to follow Beak back to the White House Guild. Lily asked Lim if she should burn the entire place down. Lim grabbed her left cheek and said she shouldn't be so reckless. He told her that if she ever plays with fire without his permission he would ban fried chicken forever. After Beak and Lily left, Tijun brought Lim into his office. After sitting down, Lim quickly asked Tijun what he wanted from him. Lim impressed Tijun further. He reached into his shirt and pulled out some documents and laid it in front of Lim. He asked Lim to work for him. Lim looked at the papers questioning if this was a scouting proposal. He said to take him from the White House Guild Tijun will need to pay a hefty amount for the cancellation fee. Tijun told Lim that he doesn't want him to leave the White House Guild. In fact, he could continue working for them. He just wants Lim to relay some information to him regularly. Tijun promised Lim that he would be paid handsomely. He told him that if he looked at the contract he would see that it's not a bad offer. Lim asked Tijun what he would do if he refused. Tijun threatened Lim, saying if he refuses he will have to pay for the ruckus he caused here, and he might end up losing an arm or two. Later, Changsu was in front of the Black Hound Guild building screaming at the top of his lungs, demanding Tijun let Lim go. He says he will give them to the count of 3 and if they don't release Lim he will barge into the building and get Lim himself. He started counting and Lim interrupted him, questioning what he was doing here. Changsu was confused. He told Lim that Beak informed him that the Black Hound Guild was holding him captive. Lim said he resolved it by apologizing from the bottom of his heart, and surprisingly they accepted his apology. It seemed like his sincerity got to them because they even gave him presents. In a flashback we learnt that Lim threatened to expose Tijun's intimate relationship with his sister-in-law. He told Tijun that if he wanted to keep that relationship concealed he should consider his propositions. First he asked Tijun to hand Wang over without a termination fee. He wrote the additional fees for his discretion on a piece of paper and he handed it to Tijun. Before he regressed, Tijun engaged in an affair with his cousin's wife for a decade. Eventually he was caught and both his cousin and his wife tragically took their own lives. And Tijun retired due to the shock. Lim knows Tijun will want him to keep his mouth shut no matter what. In the present, inside the White House Guild building, Changsu says Tijun is a cunning bastard, so there's no way he would let Lim go so easily. He asked Lim to be honest, saying he would go confront him right now. Beak asked Changsu if there was a need to pursue this further. Changsu laughed nervously, saying he was only going to confront Tijun if they did something to Lim. Beak told him that they should be grateful nothing happened. Lim noticed that Lily seemed quieter than usual. He patted her on the head, saying they don't have to play with fire to get things done. Lily sadly told Lim that she was hungry, which confused him. Beak informed him that the atmosphere wasn't great after he left. Lim patted Lily on the head again, saying they will have chicken for dinner tonight. Lily aside, if Changsu and Beak didn't care about him they wouldn't have come to save him, so he was glad he decided to join the White House Guild. The next day at the contamination control area, Wang arrived. He apologized to Lim about what happened yesterday, saying the Hyonate begged him to renew the contract, so he had no choice. Lim pointed at a chair saying he should sit down. After Wang sat down, Lim told him that the documents were taken care of yesterday, so starting now he is Team 7's tanker. Wang grew up in an orphanage. He is introverted and acts like he's on thin ice around people. Because of that, he was treated as a pushover in the Black Hound Guild, and he died when the first disaster struck. Wang asked Lim why someone as strong as him would choose a tanker as useless as him, and Lim responded saying he needed him. Wang showed Lim his special ability, saying it was as useless as he is. Lim grabbed Wang by the shoulders saying he should stay still. The moving fortress Jian Min Chol. A decade from now, he will rise as a supernatural hero revered by all. Wang has the same petrification ability as Jian Min Chial. In the past, Lim came across rock sculptures made by Jian Min Chial in the early days of his career. Wang's body is even harder than those sculptures. After checking it in person, Lim was more confident that Wang has a greater petrification ability than Jian Min Chial. He told Wang that if he gave him 6 months he would turn him into the greatest tanker in Seoul. Wang replied saying what Lim was saying doesn't make sense. Lim told Wang that since he was a useless tank, now he will just have to make him talented enough. Wang was moved, and in his eyes Lim was like an angel. Suradiok informed Lim that he finished preparing the food, and Lim asked him to bring the entire pot so they could enjoy. Suradiok plated the mana food in front of them, and Lim told them to dig in. He says that each person has to finish 3 bowls, even Suradiok. 2 days later, at a monster hunting site, Wang was about to be bitten by a white lion monster. Lim stepped in and defended Wang from the monster's attack. Afterwards, he confronted Wang, asking how a tanker can be scared of monsters. Wang apologized, and Lim told him that if he was sorry, he should get back to the front lines. Wang ran at another white lion monster, and Lim shouted orders from the sidelines. Wang had 3 bowls of mana nutritional food for 2 days. Then Lim made him train 5 times and forced him to eat 5 meals a day. The goal of his training was to increase his petrification. Wang grabbed a hold of the monster, and the monster began to attack him. Lim told him to hold on to the monster for 1 minute no matter what, and said if he can't do it, he will be forced to eat 6 plates of mana nutritional food. The more resilient a person is, the more they can handle crises. Therefore, Lim wanted to build Wang's resilience by getting him used to harsh situations. This method is a scientific training method that has been proven in research papers. Lim turned to Lily saying it was going to be her turn soon. However, Lily refused. She told Lim that she wouldn't do what he says. He always makes her eat tasteless food, and he doesn't buy her a lot of chicken. Lim told her that tonight's dinner will be chicken, and she quickly rushed at the monster with her fire ability. Lily burnt the monster to a crisp. Lim told her that she should get her fire ability under control, and if she couldn't, no more chicken. She begged him, saying it wasn't fair. Wang was amazed. Both Lim and Lily are strong enough to take on monsters by themselves. Compared to them, he is useless. Lim called into the control room asking them to find the location of the other monsters. There were a total of 8 one-horned white lions that appeared through the gate 20 minutes ago, and he needs to catch 1 more to be a test subject. The control team informed him that there was a monster at 7 o'clock from his location. However, the warrior guild is closer to the target. Lim and the others started heading in the direction of the white lion. He asked the control team for a detailed distance difference from the monster between him and the warrior guild. The control team informed him that he was 2 kilometers away, and the warrior guild was 1 kilometer away. Lim turned to Lily and he told her that he was going to go ahead. He started heading toward the monster at full speed. While he trained Lily and Wang, Lim made sure not to neglect his own training. He also kept eating the mana nutrition meal like the others, and although he is not at the level he was at before he regressed, his strength has increased a lot. He quickly passed the warrior guild, but they noticed him, and the team leader for the warrior guild ordered his ranged damage dealers to get ready to attack. If Lim doesn't get the first hit, there will be problems when it comes time for loot distributions. He sped up even more and defeated the lion in 1 hit. He called into the control room saying the hunt was over. This confused the control team because their map shows he just arrived. They informed him that there was 1 more monster left, and it was to the south. Lim asked Lily and Wang to take care of it. After he arrived at the monster's location, Lily approached him saying she learnt from the first monster and used her ability properly this time, so they can eat chicken for dinner. Lim says even though it wasn't perfect, it's to the level where the sampling is possible, so they can have chicken for dinner. The control team informed Lim that the gate is disappearing since there are no monsters left, and since the hunt was over, Lim says they should get things sorted out. Chanil Nam, the on-site medical support team leader, approached Lim asking if he was hurt anywhere. Lim says he is fine, and he asked Il Nam to help Lily wash her hands. Chinli Nam, the field filming support team leader, approached Lim asking him to take a look at the video they recorded of him fighting the monsters. Lim watched the video. He was stunned because it looked like a movie. Chin Xiaola, the field equipment support team leader, approached Lim asking him to raise his arms for a moment. She says she will help him take off his equipment. Beak recruited the 3 Chen siblings to the field support team that will be part of Team 7. These are people who will make a name for themselves in the future, so Lim was wondering how Beak managed to hire them. Lim turned to the others and apologized for messing up their names often. He says since they were just hired he hasn't memorized their names yet. He knows working with hunters in the field is difficult, so when they raid more dungeons he will be sure to provide them with plenty of rest and bonuses. Lim entered the car and the driver said his speech was heartwarming. Lim responded saying he is just observant with the feelings of the people in this field. He used to be someone who had to follow someone's orders without question, and later he got tired of it and left the guild. He doesn't want anyone on his team to feel that way. Later inside the White House Guild office, Beak was impressed with how good Lim was at dealing with people. She asked him if this was his second life or something. Lim told her to stop making jokes and says he heard there was a lot to talk about. Beak handed him some files saying the equipment he requested from the workshop will be completed by the morning. Lim was impressed with the White House Guild and he praised Beak for her work. She also told him that they found the person he asked them to look for. Lim was excited. He found the person he was looking for, Youngshin Jang, the only hunter in Korea with the creator trait. He asked Beak if she knows where Youngshin is right now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video then hit the like button.